Well, hello, you awesome and amazing peeperoo. Lenny Wennerstrom with you, and let's talk a bit about stability. And I'm going to tell you right now. Here's a fact for you. You will never control the external world, your outer world, without managing your internal environment first. And let me repeat that again because this is really important and we're going to get into it. I don't know exactly where this conversation is going to lead, but I just want to, I'm going to give you a self-talk phrase that is going to help you and tell you about a Black Friday gift, basically, that it's going to be a very, very low price that I'm creating for you now, just because the instability in our world feels so unstable, and you're probably feeling it, and it's like this undercurrent that things are not the same, and they haven't been the same. So you will never control the outer world without managing your internal environment first. So that's from where we will start this conversation. And I want to talk about stability because I'm going to tell you a little story. And you may have heard this before because I talked a lot about it. In fact, I was on every single day when my husband, Steve, was when we were in Amarillo, actually even before Amarillo, um, but we went down there. He was diagnosed with congestive heart failure, and he had gone to the hospital in Colorado, in the Denver area, and he contracted, without our knowing, a blood infection. So he wanted to go to a lower altitude because here we're at 8,000 feet. And so he wanted to go lower. So he chose Amarillo. We went in our motorhome. We have a 37-foot motorhome that we've been um, RVing for many, many years together. You may have seen us out if you have been watching any of the videos, because I've been putting them up for many years, our travels and such. So Steve decided on Amarillo. We get there, and the moment that we get there, he had already fallen, and he was acting very strange, and he had just huge, like his legs just looked like he had been bruised, like he had fallen, and he had fallen, but he was disoriented, and it was like that bruising didn't make any sense. So as soon as we got to Amarillo, we called the ambulance with his blessing. And we right away they took him in, and the doctor said, "You've got to vent him, put a ventilator in, because he told him, you're dying, like you cannot breathe." And he could not breathe, and he was like, "Yes, yes." That was the last thing he ever wanted to do, was have a ventilator. And then 13 days later, so there we are in Amarillo. We just get there from Colorado, and we went to an RV park where we always go. And we then went to, and then we were 13 days later, they took out the vent, and the vent through the mouth, and then they did a tracheostomy. I think that's what it's called. And did a trach. And so he really never recovered after that. He was fine before that. And we were there for, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. And anyway, it was such a shift. His health was not the best, although I didn't know it. In fact, I didn't know it. He actually died November 8th. And so it's almost a year. It'll, in a week and a few days, it'll be a year since he transitioned. And so the reason I share this story with you is to talk about stability, because we did not, and when I say we, I'm talking about Lynnette, our daughter, and myself. We just felt, we never knew what was going to happen from day to day. We are not the medical system, I'm not going to say it's broken. I think that it actually does exactly what it's meant to do. And so, but it's not a system that I want to be in or agree with. And I think it's wonderful for exactly what happened with Steve. He had an infection and he needed to breathe, and they did what they needed to do. The medicines and other things, I'm not a believer. I do believe that in the medicines, and the reason I'm not is because they're very acidic, and you put one medicine with another medicine with another medicine, and you really don't know what's happening in the body. And so navigating that, given our very natural, through homeopathy and herbal and literally through just keeping the body clean and nourished, and so hydrated and things like that. There's a way to keep the body going. And I totally missed the boat. I've been in health for many, many years, but it was kind of a long, drawn out situation where I didn't quite know and what I was doing. And Steve had every ability to make the decisions for himself, which he did, on what he wanted to eat or drink or any of those things. And so it wasn't like I could tell him, you have to stop doing this and you need to start, although I started off that way, but that doesn't work, after 35 years together. I had come to a point in our relationship where I was just allowing. And so we'll talk about that as we move through stability. The reason I'm sharing this story is because Lynnette and I felt very unstable. We didn't even know that we were unstable. We just knew that it was kind of sometimes frantic, sometimes, for months. And me, I was navigating the hospital system and what he could eat and not eat. And come on, andiamo. Feather wants up to say hello. Come on, up. So anyway, here's Feather. They just got washed today, and she has a fluffy head. So navigating that system was incredibly stressful. I didn't realize how stressful that was until later, until after he had passed. I mean, I knew that it was very trying, challenging. And I still, you can go back and see all the videos. I did a video every single day. I was doing a video, 365 days of positive self-talk for finding your purpose. And it really helped me. It helped me to feel more stable and to be with you during these videos. It gave me a purpose and a reason to continue practicing my spiritual practices and neuroplasticity, because as a self-talk trainer, I train people, my clients and companies, whoever wants to literally change their negative self-talk to positive and to align with their values. I teach them how to do that very easily, very passively. And so I use that every single day. I was using that tool every single day, and many other tools, to keep myself stable. So this whole thing of this, once I'm going to skip to the end of that part of the story, because not that it's unimportant, but it's not really salient to what I'm going to share with you today. So Steve passed November 8th, almost a year ago. And since then, after that, it was like, well, who is Lenny without Steve after 35 years? And Lynnette had been training with him the year prior, learning our commercial real estate business. And so she was busy trying to keep the family business going along with her job, her full-time job. And she's an astrologer, and she's growing her astrology business. She's still there, but now it's much smoother, because now she has a much more better working idea of what she's doing, because she's been doing it for a year, and she was actually doing everything prior to Steve passing. So this summer, she said, this is how this started for me, the stability. She said, Mommy, this is the summer of stability. I keep telling myself this is the summer of stability because we were just so unstable, and it was so challenging during that time. And I thought about that and I loved it. I was like, the summer of stability. Like I can run with that because I feel so unstable. And like I don't know who I am without Steve. All of a sudden I'm doing all the Steve did everything that, think about the 1950s. And if you aren't of the, I mean, I wasn't born in the 1950s either, but Steve was actually born in 1950. He's 12 years older than I was. And or I am. Anyway, he he was born in 1950. And if you think about like Leave It to Beaver and some of the Mayberry, I can't even remember, Mayberry RFD or something like that. But those shows were just, and even think in the 70s of the Waltons, and just the family, the stability of a family, the stability of working one job, of having, like, everything's the same. And there was a lot of stability, a lot of values, a lot of, a handshake, and that's how people were. And not everyone, obviously, but that was more the culture than today. It's like now it's lawsuit this, and you offended me, and it's just so different than what it was then. And so that that summer of stability was really, it just really got me, and I started thinking the era of stability, because I've I just came into, like, ever since COVID, everyone pretty much, while they might, I think, while a lot of people say, oh, we're back to normal, right? We're back to normal. There's been a lot of instability and a lot of feeling unstable in our lives. Things were just crazy during that time, and we all went through it. And a lot of people who didn't want to take the shots, people who did want to take it, that they stopped their families from, grandparents were taken from their grandchildren, or that the parents said, no, you haven't taken the shot, so you can't come and see them. And a lot of fear. And then those who who, it was all over the board, masks, no masks. And it really created separation. One other thing that it did create was people thinking. Like, there was a lot of separation of families, and the separation between parents and children, and grandparents and grandchildren, and brothers and sisters, and just siblings and parents and children, and like all of that. It was friends. It broke up friendships because people were so scared, or so knowing that it was something that it wasn't, that it was all fear based, and it wasn't what it was said to be, or that it was what it was said to be. And so it was just, it created an incredible amount of instability for the entire world. And so I really think that as we've moved along since before all the other things, that was kind of where I see that instability as humanity. It's like, wow, what is this? And then now we're moving into so quickly into technology. So AI is everywhere, and I use AI, and I call it energetic intelligence. What I do with AI, because I know everything is energy, and so I use I use it differently. I may use it as a tool, but I see it as a frequency, and I call upon it as energy, and not as something to be feared, because it's not going away. It's kind of like the .com. I mean, the internet. It came and did all kinds of stuff, and shook up the world. And now we have AI, which is coming in and shaking up the world, and politics and all kinds of things. So the stability just feels like this undercurrent. unless you're just like totally chaotic and have lost your job or lost a spouse or lost a friend or something, you know, I mean, just like all, unless you're really going through immense upheaval right now, there's just this, like, I call it the low grade inflammation, right? It's just, it's there and you feel it. And if you're watching the news, which I highly recommend you don't, but, but if you do, one, you're being wired as to what people want to wire into your brain, fear mostly. And two, it creates, it perpetuates and raises the stakes on how you feel about fear and how you feel about your own stability. And think of stability as feeling, like, so many words for it, like I feel off kilter, I feel off balance, I don't feel stable. And we're not talking about emotional, no, we're not talking about mental instability or a dis-ease, which anyway, we're talking, what I'm talking about is feeling like things are just like you're on this boat. And the way that I described it for myself, as I've talked to you on some of these videos, and to my daughter and to my friends, and as I do other videos and help my clients, I literally just felt like I was on a ship that is, you know, a boat that's rocking, and sometimes the wave comes and hits over here, and sometimes over here, and sometimes it's calm, and I got this, but I'm not the driver of the boat. Like, I'm just standing in the boat, and and I feel off balance, and things are just not right. And there's some fear. There's, you know, Steve, I was talking about Steve, like from the 50s, the man did all the finances. He had the job, did all these things. And that's pretty much, that was our relationship. Although I have had lots of success doing as an entrepreneur, and working in our company business. I leased high-rise office space, and just, I've had a lot of success. Worked in radio and was in law enforcement and all kinds of different things. So it wasn't like it was our company and we did it together, but Steve did all the finances, he did all the taxes, he did all the investments. We talked about it, but I didn't really have a whole lot. I didn't understand it. And honestly, it was just like, you just do it. Because I'd say, well, take some time to show me. And then he would start off and show me like this big picture. And I was just like, oh, it was too much. And so we never really did get it together. He showed me some things, but it came as a huge surprise when he transitioned. Absolutely huge surprise. I really thought, we brought him home for the last 2 weeks of his life out of the hospital, and I really thought he was going to make it. And so when he actually died, transitioned, I can't tell you I was shocked. I think I was in shock. And and Lynnette was as well, our daughter. So we've just been going through this feeling off kilter, off balance, not stable. And that is, the more that oops. Okay, I hope this is still going. It is. Okay, there was a phone call. I think the one thing I did not do was put this in do not disturb. So let me see if I can do that real quick without messing this up. I'm not sure that I can. I'll just, hopefully won't. My brother just called. So I think that this feeling, this instability and not feeling off kilter, and all of those things, the reason that we feel that way is because if you think about the Buddha, if you know, attachments, and the more that I study this, and the more that I learn, not about Hinduism or Buddhism or anything, but just attachment and my own attachment. And we'll talk about this in as we move through. This is kind of like a series, I think. I'm not really sure. I'm just sharing with you, because the more that we go through this this instability, that it didn't start with COVID, but that was just a huge, like, that's a marker for every single one of us that we can all understand the tumultuousness of everything. Like all of our lives were just upended, and we had to punt. We didn't have a game plan or a how-to book or any of that. We didn't. Not one of us did. And the only ones who did incredibly well during that time were the ones who had that sense of wholeness, that everything, that they control their inner world, and they don't try to control the outer world. They control the inner world. And I don't know very many people who did that. So and anyway, that that whole thing of attachment, I really started thinking about that. I was so attached 35 years to Steve, and he was my stability, and I knew that, but I didn't know that. Meaning I knew that I would come home and there he was. I could go anywhere, do anything, and then I'd come home and he'd take care of the dogs and the cat, and like he took care of the house. He did whatever it was, he took care of it, and he kept everything going, and I would keep I would do whatever it was that we needed to do, because a lot of times I would travel or do things, and I'd always be able to, especially when we were building this house. And so I'd be at my daughter's, or we were moving and doing, like, I was doing all of that, but I'd come home after a couple of days and everything's fine, and he just his attachment to me was companionship, so he would miss me if it was more than like 2 nights. So um but my attachment was huge to him, and it was, I didn't even know that. I mean, I knew he did all the bills, and he did all that stuff, because as soon as I saw bills, I was like, here you go, my baby. And he just get them, open them up, take care of them. And I've learned a lot from him. I now, I have embodied him in that way, and that has brought me some stability. So I'm going to repeat what I said at the beginning. You will never control the outer world without managing your internal environment first. And I'm hoping that you're understanding where I'm going with this, because when we manage our internal environment, regardless of any internal, external circumstances, we start to put ourselves in the driver's seat of our own boat, so that we're not the passenger, and that's the wave hits and we're in a boat without a paddle, and here comes the waves, from a power boat or something, and we're rocking on that. um when we take control of our inner environment, that internal environment, we start to find that we're really capable of way more than what we think we are. And I really wanted to start this sequence or series or whatever it is I'm doing today. I just want to have this conversation with you, because I this sense of instability in our lives is very prevalent for most everyone. And I think that you can identify with what I'm saying. At least I'm hoping you can. So the what I want to talk about now, how I'm going to give you, first of all, the basic tenets of it's a 6-week, very short course. Not very short, it's 6 weeks, but I'm going to put everything I have into that course. And for Black Friday, I'm going to charge $47. So you can't sign up for it now. I'll have a sign up for it at some point. But I'm telling you, this is going to be life-changing, because Lynnette and I have gone through this. We've been going through it. I've been doing an immense amount of research and an immense amount of practice of finding that inner stability, being that inner compass for myself, listening to my heart, like really understanding what brings stability to a person in the 3D world. And the biggest thing that I can tell you right now, one of the most amazing tools, and I always talk to you about this, is as a self-talk trainer, it's rewiring neuroplasticity, rewiring your brain. And you are creating new neural pathways, new neurons until the day you take your last breath. That's in your brain. We haven't even gotten to the heart. The heart also has neurons that are that and when you get the heart and the brain together and you get that coherence where they're in tune, and you are a electrical magnetic being. So your thoughts are electrical and they go out and they create waves. Like this can actually be measured. And the heart is magnetic, so it pulls. So um or deflects. But if you have good, you're thinking like love, like high frequency thoughts, then you're going to be putting these thoughts, these beautiful thoughts out, and then bringing in what it is that you're trying to bring in, and the with high frequency. And this is, in a nutshell, this is manifestation. You are manifesting. You are an electrical magnetic being. You're a light being. Photons, like that can be measured like outside of you, say 6 feet on this side and on each side, and then 3 feet above you and 3 feet below you, or whatever, it can be measured in many, many ways. And so what's important to understand is that you are manifesting 24/7. You're manifesting all the time. You are literally creating your reality. You are literally creating your instability. And as Lynnette was, and we have come to this place where, and I'll just speak for myself, but coming to this place where I've and because of my spiritual beliefs, I believe we've chosen it all. And I knew as soon as Steve transitioned, that was his exit strategy. And he chose that. And I knew I chose it as well. And so I don't think that I had like a lot of blame and guilt and anger. I mean, I didn't have any, well, I had a little bit of guilt just for some things that I said because he just wasn't himself. But I recognized right away so that he wasn't himself, and that I was doing the best I could with very limited sleep and juggling everything that I was. All of it was very challenging. But I just did not have. I did have. I could tell you what I don't. It's not that it was smooth sailing, and it wasn't that I didn't cry, and that I still don't cry, although it becomes much less frequent now. Those gut punches of just missing him come way less frequent, and it's like a year, for the first year or 2 years after you lose a spouse, is most. That's when most people, like, there's a very high amount of suicide or death by broken hearts, and probably that has to do with the amount of time that someone was together with someone. But there's a lot of that. It's one of the highest numbers, or at least it was. There's a lot of other things happening now, and I didn't ever feel like that, and I don't feel like that, and I want to live, and it wasn't that I didn't feel defeated sometimes and very lonely. Yet I just knew that there's something higher and better as I move forward. And everything is a message for positive change. Absolutely everything, including that. And I have grown immensely in this year. And so that finding that stability has been such a huge factor for me for about, I don't know, probably like the last. Lynnette said it early in the summer. She's like, "This is going to be the summer of stability." So he died in November last year, and it was before summer that she said it. So probably like April. His birthday was April 2nd, and I think it was about then that she was talking about just finding stability, and that she just felt so off. We had talked a lot about it, but that word just got me, and pretty soon it's not like, this is going to be the summer of stability. I'm going to get stable after like the last summer, because that last summer was awful. And not awful, but it was challenging. And there was a lot of wonderful times too. So so that is what set me on this path. And this course that I am creating for you is going to be so packed with with tools, and not overwhelming. Like, it's not going to be overwhelming, and it is going to be simple. I'm working on it to make it very simple so that you have the tools that you can use all the time, like self-talk phrases. I believe strongly that the bridge between instability and stability is your self-talk. Now, is it really your self-talk? Where does your self-talk start? It starts with your programs. And if you've been with me for any amount of time, you know I'm going to go through like this little, the little line of how things go. Maybe I need to go this way for the camera, but it starts with your programs. Your programs are what creates your beliefs, your belief systems. You can always tell somebody's, no matter what they are, whether it be politics or religion, or feeling insecure, or not having enough money, or feeling like they're the best person in the entire world, you always know that it's their programs that are running that. And it just, that's the part of our brain. We run on programs, all of us. But what I'm going to offer you, I'm giving an invitation to you to rewire those programs with the programs that you want, rather than programs that you were gifted by parents and society and teachers and all of that from 0 to 7. And those are still with you. And then you continue to create them from there. So you are your most amazing programmer. But anyway, so it's your programs and create your beliefs, and your beliefs create your attitudes create your emotions and your feelings, and your emotions and feelings create your behaviors and your actions, and your behaviors and your actions, that creates your outcome, your results, whatever it is. So you can always look to your results. Look around you. What do you have? What is your life like? What are your relationships like? And you can see the results. And you can go all the way back and say, I want to change that program right now. I no longer want to feel like I'm in lack. I want to be like, here we are focusing on what you want, not what you don't want. Because remember, I said you're manifesting 24/7. So you want to focus on what you want, not what you don't. So you don't want to focus on, I don't have enough money. I'm not good enough. I'm not good at public speaking. I'm too shy. That person's way better than me, and that person has more money, so they have more opportunity. That's all BS, as one of my mentors says. That's all belief systems. So, and it's true. It's a belief system, and you can change that. You can change that belief by changing the program. So I'm going to give you, and this is through your self-talk. So I say the bridge is your self-talk, and that's pretty much when you rewire your brain, your self-talk, what you say when you talk to yourself, that switches to, I got this, I can do it. That's what happens. And so, and I'll give you an example that I've given many times, but you may not have heard it, but it's just as relevant today. And Steve and I not last March now, but in 24, we went for a month long, our last RV trip together. And we went to Tucson. We went all over the place, but it was a rally and an RV motorhome rally. And so we went there, and he wasn't feeling totally well. And he's like, babe, do you think you could drive for a while while I rest? And I was like, absolutely. I didn't even think about it. And I got in the driver's seat, and I was like, wow, this is fun. And I'm driving away down the road and just feeling totally confident. And it hit me that just, months prior and for years, I had gotten in the driver's seat and was looking at where the white line was and the tire and doing all that stuff. And I felt incompetent. I felt, I just felt crumbly inside. Like, am I going to do this? I didn't have the confidence. And it hit me that day when I got in the seat, and it was the first day or the second day. and man, just hitting it down the road and doing stuff. And I just looked at myself like mind's eye, and I thought, oh my gosh, I have rewired my brain to, I got this. I can do it. And that was like my first just aha, that this rewiring really, really works. And I mean, I had other things, but this was just like in your face, from feeling incompetent and not having confidence to feeling totally confident and having fun and saying, I got this. I didn't even think. I just got in, started doing it. And then it was later I thought, wow, look at you. So that's what rewiring your brain does. You choose the program. And I did choose the program of, I can do this, rather than I can't do this. I'm not good enough. Like, I changed those programs on purpose, by design. I chose the programs that I wanted to rewire my brain. So I'll share that with you more in another thing. You can always look in the description, because I always have, there's a 30-day free app, but that's not the point. Hey, deja por favor, Happy Beans. So I'm going to give you a self-talk phrase, because it is through self-talk phrases, it's through the repetition that you rewire your brain. Happy Beans, ven acá, feather, Happy Beans. Uno, dos, tres, ven acá, feather, ven acá. My puppies, they love to do this. Feather, ven acá, no hay nada. They just play off each other. So we speak Spanish in this household. So, feather, ven acá. No más, no ladras. Okay, so here's your self-talk phrase. Write this down. Say this every day. Do it 3 times. First in the morning, first thing in the morning, first thing, at night before you go to sleep. Or say it even more. But neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to rewire until you take your last breath. This is what you're doing. This is one of the rules of neuroplasticity, rewiring the brain and using its repetition. And intention is another one. So the intention to do this, and if you have emotion behind it, you rewire even faster. Like, I really want to change. This is exciting. So you put some emotion in there, but the repetition is the key that I want to highlight here. So here's your self-talk phrase. I'm stable within. Even in change, however uncomfortable, I control my reactions. I am in charge of me. So I'm stable within. Even in change, however uncomfortable, I control my reactions. I am in charge of me. So I wrote this out for you because it's very important. A lot of people say, but that's telling myself a lie. When it's like, but I don't feel stable within. And even in change, however uncomfortable, I control my actions. How do I control my actions? I have no idea how to control my actions. And I control my reactions. I think I said actions. I control my reactions. I am in charge of me. And we don't feel that. So that could be like, but I'm lying to myself. But let me tell you about something, just a teeny little bit about your subconscious, and we'll talk more about this. But your subconscious brain, it does not care. It's very objective. It is not there to judge or say, oh, you deserve to have a break today. You deserve to we should be kind to you today. No, it's not about kindness or emotions or anything. It is very objective. It is not subjective at all. And it does not discern a lie from truth. It has no idea. It's very objective. You tell it something and it takes it and you believe it, and you say it with authority and you believe it, it becomes true. This is the things you manifest. And let me use the RV as an example. Like, I listen to many of these, like these self-talk phrases. I listened to many of them for a long time, and to be able to do whatever it is I wanted to do, to have confidence, to build my self-esteem, all of this. And it came out like I didn't have to work. It was passive listening. I didn't have to work at it. It literally just rewired my brain. So when I step into the driver's seat of the motorhome and I get up there and it's 12 feet high and 37 feet long, plus the tow, the Jeep behind adds another 10 feet. So I am 47 feet long. I don't have a rear view mirror. And I've got these two big mirrors on the side, like a big semi truck. If you've seen that, that's what I am driving down the road, and I'm over here all confident. But before that, I had trepidation, and months before that, it was just like, I was uncomfortable, and yeah, a lot of trepidation to do it. And so, and then all of a sudden it just happened. Well, why did it happen? It happened because I rewired my brain. So what I'm telling you right now is, the more that you repeat something, your subconscious doesn't care what you repeat to it. It's a program. It's running programs. So this, what I just shared with you, that would be a program that you repeat, and pretty soon, like it takes 21 days to change a habit. We've heard that for however long, right? It's really 21 days, about 21 days to dismantle the most powerful program, the one that you're targeting. And then this, and so when you say this, you're not lying to yourself. You're literally changing your program. You're rewiring your brain. And so know that when you do this, that you can rewire your brain, and it's not about you lying to yourself. It's about you saying, this is the way we're operating from here on out. This is you taking responsibility for your life and saying, brain, this is where we're going from here on out. You don't have a choice. You are objective, and I'm giving you the program, and this is where we're going. That's what you're telling your brain. And your brain's like, all right. It doesn't even care. It's just like, it's just putting that program in, because anything that is repeated, even if it's a negative thing, that becomes a program. And that is what so many of us have. It's estimated that over 77% of our programs are negative, they are harmful, they are counterproductive. That is a huge number. And that's in our conscious mind. In our subconscious, it's like 95%, 90 to 95% that are harmful and counterproductive and stop us from doing what it is we want to do, because we have these programs that are running from 0 to 7. And then the ones that we put on top of that as we had experiences based on those foundational programs that are running, that are negative and harmful and are counterproductive. Like, I'm not enough. I can't do enough. I'm too shy. I'm too shy. I'm shy, by the way, is a program. That is a program. So all of these things are programs. So, and let me just say how that, I'm already at 42 minutes, but let me just say how that works to give you an example of I'm shy. So you are, say, 2 years old, 3 years old or something, and you hide behind your mom's skirt. Somebody comes up as a stranger, and you're just kind of like assessing, but it's really just, you're just assessing as a little human, like, what's going on, and who is this person, and can I trust this person? Like, all the little things that are coming to a 3-year-old's brain. And then the person says, oh, says something, and then the mother says, she's just shy. She's shy. And then it happens again. Like the next day, mom goes to the store, or next week or whatever. And then somebody comes up, oh, she's shy, as you go behind your mom's skirt, and then pretty soon you start doing it as a habit. You're creating a habit. You're creating this neural pathway that says, I'm shy. And mother keeps saying, she's so shy. And then all the people say, oh, she's really shy. Then all your classmates say, she's really shy. And you're like, I'm so shy. And it's a program. It is a program. Do you see how that happens? You can change that program. If you're shy right now, if you feel like you are so afraid to speak in public, it's a program. You can change that. Okay. So I'm going to give you the self-talk phrase again. I'm stable within. Now that you know that you're not lying to yourself when you say this, I'm stable within. I control my actions, even in change, however uncomfortable, I control my reactions. I am in charge of me. So I'll write it out in the description. So, but that's a self-talk phrase. You want to say that 3 times, and you want to say that, or say it even more. The more you repeat it to yourself, but always say it 3 times, at least 3 times. And then say it during the afternoon. Say it at night before you go to sleep. And pretty soon, you're going to start feeling, I talked about the 21 days to change a habit, that starts dismantling the old programs. it's about 60 days. You start really, you get that habit going, of like, I'm stable within, and you pretty soon you just like, I feel pretty stable today. Like I don't feel off kilter, and you'll just like, you'll feel more positive, even after a few days of doing it. And then you'll get to 90 days, and now you've rewired it. Like, it's in your brain. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. So this is why I moved from, I focused on, I didn't move from, but I moved from my, I just said, I focused on the, I taught something that I call practical spirituality. And it had the spiritual journey and the human experience. I focused on the human experience because I wanted to meet you where you are. And I really got to meet me where I was with this instability thing. I felt so unstable. Lynnette felt so unstable. We felt all over the place. And after COVID, like, we're still moving through all of that. And then boom, all of this. And then this first year without Steve, as someone after 35 years, I was 26 when we met. And so I was still a kid. And so I was rewired. I wired my brain to his, like, to have him, to have that stability. And the thing that is really interesting is that the one thing you can count on planet Earth is change, is impermanence, because nothing here is permanent. Not a single person. We are all going to transition. We all come here for the experience, for however you want to see what it is, why we're here. I think it's to actually come to know who we are and have unconditional love for self, and understand our divinity. Like, we come and kind of splat down here, and and then we gotta pick ourselves up and remember, like, who are we really, and that we are individual expressions of the one, of Source, of God. We are an individual expression of that higher power. And when we get it, this is why we're manifesting machines. No matter if you're thinking negative or positive or somewhere in between, we are manifesting machines. We are creating our destiny at all times. At all times. So my best advice, besides the rewiring your brain with the programs you want, is focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Because the more you focus on what you don't want, like, oh, I don't have enough, I'll never have enough money, I'm not as good as she is, my job is gone, like, AI is here, my job is gone, there'll be nothing else for me, I have no idea what I'm going to do, and I'm just not good at anything, and so I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, all of that, these are programs running because we came here abundant and perfect, but perfection, like, literally, as an individual expression of the one. It's only a matter of degree. So pull out the godness because you are an individual expression of that, and you have all that power within. So this whole thing that I'm going to be working on, that I'm working on now, and I'm so excited to present it to you for Black Friday, is to rewire. Rewire is really important. Like, the method is to rewire, which creates stability. And let me look at see if I can see it. I have my little Tesla glasses on here. And that's for blue light, in case you didn't know that. Oh, there, I did it. So what I created is the bold evolution of self-talk. And that's really important to understand. I'm creating a community of people who want to rewire their brains so that they understand their power. They become empowered on their own. They find their own power from within. We talked about you will never control the outer world without managing your internal environment first. So we talked about that. I want to get you there because, and it's not very difficult to do. You just need to understand, like, you don't have to go my whole year that I've been doing. Actually, I've been doing it a lot longer than that, but with Steve, like, it was compressed, and I've been working on it probably like 8 months, like, really understanding I don't feel stable. Like, I just feel so off balance, and without him, like, who am I without Steve? I'm still going through it. I'm only a few steps ahead of you. Like, I'm still going through that, finding that stability. but I am a lot more stable. I have a lot of peace. I have a lot of confidence, and it's things that I did not have prior. Like this is new. This is like Lenny unleashed without Steve. And so it's really amazing. So let me see if I can find, not sure why this went back. I had it all here for you, but oh man. Anyway, I'll just tell you that that this isn't another mindset. I'm not about mindset. Let me tell you, mindset is not all it's chalked up to be, because mindset depends on your programs. You got to change your program so you can change your mindset. You can always change your state of mind very quickly with music. I mean, I have a whole module in there about changing your state of mind very quickly. And that's going to help you like in the interim, like in the moment. Yet it a mindset, like people, there's mindset coaches and mindset, like change your mindset. Well, you need to rewire your programs first, or that mindset is always going to be, it's all, remember, programs then create your programs, create your beliefs create your attitudes create your feelings create your behaviors, your actions, and your actions and behaviors create the outcome, the results. So long as you've got programs that are running that are negative and holding you back and stopping you and sabotaging you, and they're not even yours, they were given to you. Remember, they were gifted to you from 0 to 7, and then you compounded them. And so this is where you can change your life, like change your programs, change your life, literally. So it's not, it's the bold evolution of self-talk. It's a bold brain-based shift that starts working immediately. So, and you can tell by what I gave you, that self-talk phrase that I gave you earlier. I hope you wrote that down. It'll be in the description. But it's really, I just really want you to get how, and I haven't said this yet, but I want you to understand how powerful you really are and how valuable you are to this world. You didn't come here to just be fearful. And this is a fear-based planet, because there are, call it a few or handful of people or whatever people want to say, but there's this consciousness, this collective consciousness that is so fear-based. Fear of everything, fear of standing out, fear of success, fear of failure, fear of not having enough, fear of not being appreciated, fear of being not being respected, just fear of not being tall enough, fear of this, fear of that, fear of not being respected or admired or affirmed, or fear of saying the wrong thing, fear of being embarrassed, fear of being offended, and fear of offending, and fear of being irritable, and fear of irritating. Like the fears are just fear of heights, fear. I mean, you could go on and on with the fears. But that's where we are today. So I want to help you to rewire the negative programming into positive programs that you choose. And I'm going to help you choose those. And you're going to stabilize your nervous system from survival mode into safety and clarity. That's another piece, to move from the survival mode into from, you want to move from the fear, from the sympathetic into the parasympathetic. You really want to be where you can relax and feel safe, because then your body's going to heal. Then you're going to, the things that you really want are going to come to you more easily, more effortlessly. It's amazing how that works. And 6 weeks together, I'm telling you, you're going to be so happy. So, and then you're going to empower yourself with confidence, calm, and freedom. That's what's going to happen. You're going to empower yourself. So that's really what this is. I'm starting this. I want to welcome you to the era of stability. The bold evolution of self-talk, I call it the best. The best system is the bold evolution of self-talk. And it's life-changing. It's life-changing, because it's not just your self-talk. I mean, I talk about that, but that is the community. But this whole program that I was talking about, the bridge, and it is rewiring your brain first. It's understanding your power and taking those steps to move from that instability to stability. And the bridge we're going to use, one of the tools that we'll use for the bridge is rewiring your brain, the self-talk. And then that will empower you. So that method is very solid. It's very solid. It's science-backed, and it works. I am living proof. Anyone, all of my clients who are a life coach, and my clients, they have every single one. There's not one single one who has not excelled in rewiring their brain. So this is you're not going to just survive anymore. You're not going to be worried about the next war or AI taking your job, or you're going to come from a place of empowerment. That is my goal. That is my goal, to get you to that place. And this 6 weeks, I'm putting everything that I have into it because I want you to get there. The more of us that are there, the stronger that we're going to become, understanding our own power. You're going to do what your gift is from God, from the higher power. You're going to move into that, into your, you may not even know what your purpose is, but hopefully by the end of the 6 weeks, you'll have a pretty good working idea, because it'll start coming to you. Because we're going to go like heart and brain coherence and getting everything aligned, and you're just going to feel more peace. If you just get to more peace, that is going to put you from the sympathetic into the parasympathetic. So there's no longer, freeze and all of that, run and be scared and all of that. You just want to move from the sympathetic into the parasympathetic. So, and you're going to stop looking for external fixes. It's very important that you go within to understand and find your power, manifest that power for yourself, like understand it, and it will come out of you. So you will see it. You will see it. In 6 weeks, you will see it. And then I'll offer coaching after that and other things. But I'm actually going to be coaching through that, because this is a time, like I'm putting all my gifts, everything that I've learned. And remember, I'm just like maybe a mile ahead of you, but I'm going to bring you up where I'm at. And it's going to be a different world for you, to where nothing will rock your world unless you allow it to rock your world. And fear will not be the thing of the day. It's going to be peace and happiness and joy, and you finding that for yourself. So anyway, I love you so very, very mucho. And you can do, be, change, have, create, become absolutely anything. You can. You absolutely can. You are unlimited. You were born with unlimited promise and potential, and we're going to move you back to that. We're going to remind you of that. I'm going to show you how to move back to that, and you can tap into that. Even though you have these programs that are negative and holding you back and sabotaging you, I'm going to help you to move right back into rewiring your brain so that you find that unlimited promise and potential. Like you start tapping into that potential and finding your passion and finding your purpose. And that's not what this is about, but that this will more than likely be a side effect or, something good on the side. Because even if you just have peace, that's going to be, and you're going to have power. You're going to understand your power. So again, I said, I love you so mucho. And as always, shining my light to brighten yours. And we'll see you on the next video. See ya. Ciao.